Have you ever walked into someone's home and, before they even said hello, you just felt something? Maybe it was a soft scent of lemon or cinnamon, or just that unmistakable freshness that made your whole body exhale. It didn't shout at you. It whispered, "You're safe here." That's not just about cleaning. That's something deeper. And most of us don't realize we're not just cleaning our homes, we're shaping how it feels to live inside them. Today, I want to share with you 10 time-tested secrets that older women, just like you and me, have quietly sworn by for decades. Not fancy sprays or trendy gadgets, but the gentle wisdom of grandmothers, mothers, and neighbors who knew how to make a house feel alive with warmth. You won't just learn how to make your home smell wonderful. You'll discover how to make it feel like a place of peace, comfort, and memory. Let me tell you a little story. When I was a child, I used to visit my great-aunt every Sunday after church. Her house was nothing grand, just a small, tidy cottage with creaky floors and floral curtains. But the moment I stepped through her door, there was always the same smell. A mix of lavender from the linen drawer, a simmering pot of cloves and orange peel on the stove, and just a hint of old books and wood polish. I didn't know what it was back then. I only knew that when I walked in, I could breathe. And even now, decades later, when I smell that same combination anywhere, it's like going home. That's the power of scent. It doesn't just clean the air, it connects us to a feeling, to a place, to ourselves. So let's explore these gentle habits together. Secrets that don't just freshen up your house, but fill it with the kind of love and calm we all deserve. Come on in. You're home. Let's begin. Let fresh air in, the oldest trick in the book. Now here's a little habit that's so simple, it often gets overlooked. But it might just be the most powerful thing you can do for your home. Let the fresh air in. That's right. Open a window. Even just a crack. Even for 5 minutes. When I was growing up, my mother, no matter the season, would crack open the kitchen window each morning. I used to grumble about the cold breeze hitting my feet while I ate breakfast, but she would just smile and say, "It's not just the toast that needs to breathe, sweetheart. We do too." And she was right. Over time, air indoors starts to feel heavy. It holds on to every scent. Last night's dinner, this morning's coffee, that damp towel left in the bathroom. And no candle, spray, or gadget can truly erase that weight. But open a window, even just while you make the bed or wash the dishes, and you'll feel it. A shift, a lightness, a breath. Sometimes we forget that air needs to move. It's like letting your home take a deep inhale and a long, grateful exhale. And here's the best part. Fresh air doesn't cost a thing. It asks nothing but a small act of intention. You're not just airing out a room, you're inviting in life. And when you start the day that way, it tells your home and yourself that you're worth fresh starts. Now, once the air is flowing, let's look at something a little unexpected that might be quietly sabotaging that freshness. The humble trash can. Stay with me. This one's important. Vinegar magic, the most honest cleaner. Let me tell you something my grandmother taught me when I was just a little girl standing on a wooden stool in her warm, quiet kitchen. She used to say, "You don't need a cupboard full of bottles to keep a house clean. Just vinegar, a little love, and a steady hand." At the time, I didn't understand how something that smelled so sour could be part of something so comforting. But now, oh, I understand. Vinegar may not come in a pretty bottle with a fancy label. It doesn't smell like spring rain or ocean breeze, but it works, and it's honest. Half a cup of white vinegar mixed with half a cup of water in a simple spray bottle, and you've got yourself a cleaner that tackles more than you'd believe. I use it on countertops after dinner, in the bathroom sink, to wipe down the inside of the microwave, even to freshen up the kitchen trash can. It cuts through grease, clears out musty smells, and leaves behind nothing but the feeling of clean. And if a room feels a little off, I'll pour some vinegar into a small dish and leave it on the counter overnight. By morning, the strange scent is gone. Not covered up, but truly gone. That's the magic. It's not trying to be something it's not. It's just doing its job, quietly, faithfully. Now, I know some folks wrinkle their nose at the smell, but give it 20 minutes. That sharpness fades, and what's left is something far more important, a space that feels cared for. Vinegar doesn't pretend. It shows up, does the work, and slips away without fanfare. And isn't that a little like us in this season of life? We're not here for the sparkle or the show. We're here to do what matters, with heart and with wisdom. Now that the air is fresh and the surfaces are truly clean, let's talk about the places where smells like to hide the most. The quiet corners of fabric we don't even realize need our attention. Wash what you forget. Fabrics that hold time. There's something funny about fabric. It doesn't shout for attention. It doesn't look messy. In fact, your curtains might look just fine. The throw pillow on the couch, still sitting where you fluffed it last week. But here's the truth most folks don't realize. Fabric remembers. It quietly soaks up the smells of every dinner cooked, every rainy afternoon, every pet nap and closed window. And over time, it holds all of that like a whisper you can't quite name, but you feel it. I remember once, years ago, walking into my daughter's home. It looked lovely, tidy, warm, just as she always keeps it. But something in the air felt tired. Not bad, just not fresh. And it wasn't until we washed the curtains and the couch cover that the change happened. Suddenly, it felt like spring inside, even though the trees outside were bare. Every season, just 4 times a year, I do what I call a fabric refresh. Down come the curtains, into the wash go the throw blankets, the pillow covers, even the table runners. If something is delicate, I'll take it to the cleaners. And in that small effort, the whole house breathes easier. I like to add a splash of vinegar in the rinse cycle. Nothing too scented, just enough to lift away what's been quietly gathering. The lesson? Just because it looks clean doesn't mean it is. Think of your favorite sweater. You know when it needs a wash, even if there's no stain. Your home is no different. These soft, overlooked corners are where the spirit of your space either rests or stagnates. So take a moment this week. Pick one room. Wash what you've been forgetting. Not to impress anyone, not to check a box, just because it's time. And when you hang those fresh curtains or fold that blanket, I promise you, you'll feel the difference. Now that we've lifted the quiet weight from the fabrics around us, let's move toward a spot most people don't even think twice about, the trash can. But, oh, it holds secrets. Let's take a closer look. Deep clean carpets. Where memory lives. There's something special about a soft carpet under your feet. It's where babies took their first steps, where you curled up with a book, where family gathered, shoes kicked off, laughter filling the room. But as the years go by, those carpets, so quiet, so familiar, begin to carry more than just memories. They hold on to the dust of daily life, the pollen from open windows, the faint scent of dinners past, even the footprints of a rainy day. And here's the thing. Vacuuming helps, but it only reaches the surface. Deep down, hidden in the fibers, live the little things we don't see but somehow feel. That's why, twice a year, I roll up my sleeves and give my carpets the kind of care they deserve. A deep clean. Not just to make them look better, but to help the whole house breathe again. You don't need anything fancy. I use a small home carpet cleaner. Just warm water and a bit of vinegar. No strong perfumes, no artificial cover-ups, just clean. And when I pour out that murky water afterward, it's a quiet reminder of all the moments that passed through the room without a second thought. Once, after a long winter, I cleaned the living room rug and opened the window for the afternoon. The scent that filled the house wasn't just freshness, it was relief. Like the house itself had exhaled. Like it had been waiting for someone to notice. Our carpets carry more than dirt. They carry stories. And when we take the time to care for them, we honor those memories. Not by keeping every speck, but by making space for new ones to come. Now that we've walked across clean ground again, let's turn our eyes to something smaller, quieter, but just as powerful. A humble box of baking soda and the hidden gifts it brings. Let's talk about that next. Simmer potpourri, cooking up comfort. There's a kind of magic that happens when you walk into a room and it smells like warmth, like something's been baking or a holiday is coming. But here's the secret. It doesn't have to be a pie in the oven or a roast in the slow cooker. Sometimes it's just a small pot on the stove with a few humble ingredients swirling together, gently filling the house with comfort. I remember one cloudy afternoon, the kind that makes the house feel a little too quiet, a little too still. I filled a saucepan with water, dropped in some orange peels from breakfast, a cinnamon stick, a few cloves, and a splash of vanilla. Turned the burner to low. That's all. Within minutes, the house smelled like memory. Like something good was happening, even if nothing was. This little ritual, simmering potpourri, isn't new. Women before us did it with scraps from the pantry, not because it was trendy, but because it worked. It told the house, you matter, I care. And it told us the same thing. You can change it with the seasons. Lemon and mint in summer, apple peels and nutmeg in fall, a bit of rosemary in winter. Whatever you have on hand, whatever speaks to your senses. It's not about impressing anyone. It's about creating an atmosphere you want to live in, one that welcomes you home every single time. And if you're nervous about leaving the stove on, you can use a small, slow cooker. Just let it sit on low and let the gentle scent do the talking. No chemicals, no artificial sprays, just comfort, rising like steam, softening the edges of the day. Now that we've stirred up a little warmth, let's turn to something even quieter, but just as powerful. It lives on shelves and in corners, in the air you breathe without noticing. Let's talk about baking soda and the quiet kind of fresh it brings. Clean hidden smell zones, the places you never look. Let me tell you something that many of us don't realize until we've lived through it. Sometimes the most stubborn smells in a home aren't coming from the garbage can or the dog's bed or yesterday's dinner. No, they're sneaking out from the places we almost never think to check. The quiet spots, the hidden corners, the out of sight, out of mind zones that hold on to odors like old memories. I learned this one winter morning while cleaning out the hallway closet. I kept catching this strange, musty smell every time I walked by, but I couldn't put my finger on it. One day, I finally pulled everything out, scarves, boots, umbrellas, and there it was, a soggy cardboard box that had soaked up some water from a leaky umbrella weeks earlier. It had molded silently, buried beneath a pile of perfectly folded towels. That smell? It wasn't the towels. It was the story underneath them, the one I didn't know was there. You see, odors love to hide. Behind the fridge, under the stove, in the dishwasher filter, around the rubber seal of your washing machine, behind the toilet tank, even inside the drain pipes. These aren't places we look often, but they hold on to scents the way photo albums hold on to memories. Quietly, until one day, they speak up. Behind the refrigerator, you might find crumbs, dust, even old bits of food that rolled away during last Thanksgiving prep. Under the stove, a piece of onion might have cooked itself into a smell you couldn't place. The filter in the dishwasher? That tiny thing traps food particles with every wash, and over time, it starts to give off a scent that spreads through the whole kitchen, even though the dishes look clean. And don't get me started on bathroom drains. A simple mix of baking soda and vinegar, followed by hot water, can work wonders, but only if you remember to do it. Now, I know these are not glamorous tasks. Nobody brags about scrubbing behind the toilet or wiping out the trash bin, but these little habits, done gently and regularly, make all the difference. Because what we're doing isn't just removing smells, we're releasing tension from the home. We're saying, I care enough to notice what others might ignore. And let me say this, you don't have to tackle everything in one day. Choose one zone a week, just one. Mark it on your calendar like a date with your home. Monday, clean under the sink. Next Thursday, check the washing machine seal. A few minutes here and there, and before you know it, your home starts breathing easier. So as we begin to clear the air, literally and emotionally, I want you to remember something important. The power isn't in the spray bottle or the scrub brush. The power is in your attention. Your presence, your willingness to look where others don't. That's what makes a home feel truly cared for, not the showroom shine, but the invisible kindness. Now that we've shined a light on the places no one talks about, let's turn our attention to something even softer, the scents that whisper instead of shout. Because the next step in creating a home that smells like peace is choosing fragrance with feeling. Let's talk about that. Coming up next, subtle scents. Whisper, don't shout. There's a fine line between a home that smells warm and inviting and one that makes your nose flinch the moment you walk in. I've been in both. You probably have too. Some places are so heavily perfumed, you feel like you've stepped into a department store. And instead of comfort, all you want is fresh air. What I've learned, after years of trial, error, and yes, a few too many air freshener regrets, is this. The most beautiful scents are the ones you barely notice. The ones that simply feel like peace. Clean laundry, a hint of lemon in the kitchen, the soft trace of vanilla in the hallway. These aren't scents that scream, they whisper, and that's why they stay with you. I remember my grandmother used to dab a little lavender oil on a cotton ball and tuck it behind the curtain in the living room. It didn't hit you in the face, but the room always felt calm, gentle, safe. That's the feeling I want in my home too. Not a performance, just a presence. So try this. Instead of reaching for the strongest spray in the store, add a drop of essential oil to your mop water. Lemon or eucalyptus is lovely. Let a single candle burn for an hour in the evening. Nothing fancy, just one with a scent that soothes. Or put a tiny bowl with vanilla behind the bookshelf. Let it work quietly. Let the air feel honest. Because the best scent your home can wear isn't something you buy. It's how you care. And when the air reflects that care, people don't just notice a smell. They feel something deeper. They feel comfort. And more importantly, so do you. Now that we've learned how to set the tone with fragrance, it's time to talk about keeping that feeling consistent, not just for guests, but for yourself. And the secret to that? It's simpler than you think. Let's take a look. Smell routine. Peace is built daily. Let me tell you something I wish I'd learned sooner. A peaceful home isn't made by a big spring cleaning once a year, or by lighting 5 candles before guests come over. It's built in the quiet minutes, in the ordinary mornings. It's built daily. I used to scramble when someone said they were dropping by. I'd spray the air, light a candle, open the windows wide, and sure, it helped a little. but it always felt rushed, artificial, like I was trying to mask something instead of truly caring for my space. Now I do it differently. I have a simple routine. No stress, no panic. Just little loving habits that whisper to my home, "You matter." Each morning, I crack a window, just a little, even in winter, to let the night air out and new air in. I check the trash, even if it's not full, because one forgotten banana peel can change the whole mood of a kitchen. I fluff the pillows, wipe the counters, and sprinkle a pinch of baking soda in the bathroom corner if it feels heavy. In the evening, I light one soft candle for an hour, not to impress anyone, just for the peace it brings as the day winds down. I peek at the sink, make sure it's empty, and toss any damp towels in the dryer, because waking up to musty air is no way to start the day. It doesn't take much, a few minutes, a little attention, but when done regularly, it creates something bigger. A home that always feels like it's breathing with you. Not perfect, not perfumed, just gently cared for. And here's what I know now. Peace isn't a grand event. It's a rhythm. A smell routine isn't about making your house impressive. It's about making it yours. Truly yours. And when you feel at peace in your own space, everything else gets just a little bit easier. Now, to close this journey, let's take one final look at what you really gain when you let go of trying so hard and simply come home to peace. Your home's scent is your heart's story. They say you can tell a lot about a person by the way their home smells, and I believe that's true. Because scent isn't just air, it's memory, it's emotion, it's the quiet signature of how we live and love. When someone steps into your space and breathes in lavender from the linen closet or a whisper of vanilla from last night's candle, they're not just noticing cleanliness, they're sensing you, the care you give, the calm you've built, the story your heart tells without saying a word. My home doesn't smell like luxury. It smells like lemon oil on wood, like cinnamon tea warming on the stove, like fresh laundry folded with soft hands. These are not grand gestures. They are small choices, daily acts of presence that say, "This place matters, I matter." And I want to remind you, your home doesn't need to impress. It just needs to feel like you. Whether you're living alone or with others, your home can be a safe harbor. A place where peace lingers in the air. Not because everything's perfect, but because it's real. So if this video has stirred something gentle in you, if it's made you pause and breathe a little deeper, then take one small step today. Open a window, light a candle, wash that forgotten curtain, and listen, not just to what your home smells like, but what it's quietly saying back to you. Because your home's scent is your heart's story. And you deserve for that story to be full of comfort, care, and peace, always.